welcome back to Kill Rock Radio. The first time back in a good little while. My name is Rocky, back up in this motherfucker after a little bit of time off. The last time I got back to you guys was it around Thanksgiving, maybe Halloween, something like that. I've been gone for the holidays. I've had all kinds of I've had family shit going on. I've had work shit going on. A motherfucker needed a little bit of time, so I took that. And it's been cool, but I have missed talking to everybody and just really, I guess, venting. I haven't had that outlet. This has always been where I come with those complaints. We're kind of in a weird, slow time. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I did want to talk about the upcoming final run of the great Ozzy Osbourne. In my opinion, one of the greatest heavy metal vocalists of all time. I'd like to get a little bit into that. No listener comments here. It's been so goddamn long. Any listener comments I have are like so... I'd have to do the stories all over again for you to get the point. So I apologize if you sent me a comment about some shit. I didn't get to it. I'm so sorry. Now going forward, I will do my best to get to everybody's shit. And I guess there's a couple little other things that I wanted to talk about. This episode's a little bit more footloose and fancy free. I'm sort of flowing off the top of my fucking head. But I've been getting text messages, DMs, all that shit. People are hitting me up, telling me, dude, have you heard about the final show for Ozzy Osbourne? The retirement show, if you will, for the great Ozzy Osbourne. You know, there are arguments at like, you know, who's the true Big Bang of metal? Some people look to the Beatles releasing Helter Skelter. Some people look to Jimi Hendrix. Some people look to Led Zeppelin. Those motherfuckers are wrong. You look no further than Black Sabbath. Can you help me? Are you by my breath? That is the Big Bang moment of metal. That is the epiphany, aha moment for heavy metal. Ozzy has Parkinson's. He can't walk. The possibility of doing a tour, it's just not realistic. So this is where Ozzy rides off into the sunset. Like right now, you could look at it as like, well, it's a huge metal show. And I mean, we'll go over the lineup here in a second. It's just outrageous. But I will say, this motherfucker is going out on his shield. So the show is Saturday, July 5th in Villa Park in Birmingham. As I said, Ozzy is listed as fronting Black Sabbath and doing an Ozzy Osbourne solo set. And then from there, you've got openers: Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, Alice in Chains, Hailstorm, Lamb of God, Anthrax, and Mastodon.
Jesus H. Christ! I think you've got a heart off!
It's almost like all the children have come home just to make sure they get to see him one last time. And that's kind of how this feels. Now, on top of that, they have all these other like single singers, parts of bands. So I assume those people are going to be peppered in with the full sets. Yeah, Billy Corgan, David Draymond, Fred Durst, Lizzie Hale, Mike Borden, KK Downing, Jonathan Davis, Sammy Hagar, Slash, Sleep Token 2, Tom Morello, and Wolfgang Van Halen. So this is pretty much the entirety of metal coming together to give the Godfather one last big send-off. So if this is the end for Ozzy, and it certainly does seem to be the end for him, at least in terms of him being a performer, then what a way to go out. Everyone comes out to pay homage, if you will. So I haven't seen anything as far as like the pricing on these tickets, but I would say, oof, that's gonna be something. Another thing is, you look at that lineup, it's almost like anyone who ever got to go to the Ozfest back in the day, the Ozfest would be on from like noon. It would be on from like lunchtime all the way through to like, you know, almost 11 at night. And there were kids that would go there and just be there from morning all the way till the end. I mean, the amount of energy is just off the charts. You look at this show is going to be at least 75% old codgers. There better be seats. I'm telling you. I understand it's a metal show. You want to have a pit and all that shit. Have a pit area, but your ass better have some fucking benches or some shit like that, or people are going to be stroking out, passing out. Like, how long is that show going to be? If it's one day, it's got to be a thing that's just going on all day and deep into the night. So how the fuck are all these old people going to hack it? You can't just stand there. You're going to get blood clots in your fucking leg. It goes to your lungs. You're out. I mean, you're probably going to have fucking hips popping off and getting all broken shit. People tearing their ACLs because they got to take a step or some shit. It's going to be bad stuff. So I will say to wherever this show is, the Villa Park or whatever the fuck that thing's called, put in some extra seating, put in some benches, definitely leave a moshing area up front for whatever young people are able to somehow afford what these tickets are going to cost. As long as you're buying tickets directly from the event and not from scalpers and shit, profits will be shared. Cure Parkinson's, Birmingham Children's Hospital, and the Acorn Children's Hospice. So expensive, but at very least a good cause. And it sounds like it's going to be a hellacious show. And Ozzy did have a quote, and this is speaking once again to his longevity. He said, "I have made it to 2025. I can't walk, but you know what I was thinking over the holidays? For all my complaining, I'm still alive." And Ozzy Osbourne is nothing if not a survivor. When he was shit canned from Black Sabbath, thrown to the curb, everybody thought he wasn't gonna be shit. He got so fat. He was a big fat cokehead. And he was just trying to kill himself. It was Sharon Osbourne who scooped him up, just the puddle of shit that he was, and said, no, we're going to get you out on the road. We're going to make some money. Sharon was, I believe, the daughter of an agent, the daughter of some big music muckety muck. And she wanted to strike out on her own. And this was her opportunity. So she scoops up Ozzy Osbourne, and he goes on to overcome all odds and become a huge mainstream superstar. He manages to just survive and keep going. Sharon Osbourne gave a comment to The Sun. She says, and I quote, "He's very happy to be coming back and very emotional about this. Parkinson's is a progressive disease. It's not something you can stabilize. It affects different parts of the body, and it's affected his legs. But his voice is as good as it's ever been." People give Sharon a lot of shit about, how hard she drives Ozzy and shit like that. But Ozzy has literally beaten the shit out of her. He's tried to choke her to death.
We came home from the restaurant. I was downstairs, he was up. Suddenly he comes downstairs a couple of hours later. He's got his underpants on. I thought he was ready for bed. And suddenly he just said, "We've made a decision." And I'm like, "We've?" "Yes, and you've got to die." And he lunged on me and, got me down to the floor and started strangling me.
Ozzy has cheated on Sharon, even into his later years. I think the last time he started, fucking his hairdresser, he was just fucking whoever was around.
Man, I've been walking around here. Something smells good. I don't know if it's my burrito or your vagina, but it's turning me on.
Ozzy has put Sharon through it. Sharon, everybody knows she did fuck Randy Rhoads, which that really had to be a mind F to my boy Ozzy, who loves Randy Rhoads, but man, I love you, yet you fuck my wife. It's a whole thing.
I blinked there!
So big ups to her. She has stood by her man. Some would say, what the fuck you gonna do that for? Some would say, marriage is marriage. You stick with it till the very end, to the bitter end. I fucking love Ozzy. I could go on for hours and hours about just his impact and his story in general. You know, Ozzy very famously has lived a really, really hardcore rock and roll lifestyle for most of his days.
Heaven.
Many people are shocked and awed that Ozzy has lived as long as he has. And I mean, the guy's done several retirement tours and shit like that. He keeps coming back for more. Some would say it's his wife Sharon keeping his ass out on the road. But one thing about Ozzy is his voice is so singular. Nobody has ever sounded like Ozzy. Who knows if anybody ever will sound like Ozzy? Like, can you think of one motherfucker who you could say, well, that guy's kind of an Ozzy ripoff? It doesn't exist. Ozzy is truly one of one. From the very first time I heard of Ozzy, it was, I mean, he was like the devil incarnate. That was during the time where everybody was talking about him biting off bats' heads, biting off pigeons' heads, or some bullshit like that, doing as like sacrifice at his shows and all this crazy shit. When you look at Ozzy, you know, once it finally came to the point that he did his reality television show in the early 2000s, you get to see what a kind of, you know, cuddly dude Ozzy is. And people have always said that, like, man, Ozzy is a sweetheart. And, you know, America just fell in love with him, and everybody has always had Ozzy's back. Ozzy's done terrible fucking things, but I almost feel like he's so forthright, and he's kind of such a fuck up. Like, you just want to put your arms around him, even when he fucks up, man. But yeah, back in the 80s, you know, every tour stop, it was protest. And that being said, Ozzy still found ways to turn the temperature up on that shit. You know, I remember it was a big to-do when he pissed on the Alamo. And, you know, he's singing about, you know, shit that can be linked back in a roundabout way to Satanism. For those who only knew Ozzy after the reality show, I mean, this dude had songs on the radio. He was on MTV 24/7. This dude's been selling out arenas since the 70s. And consistently, there's been no giant hiatus from Ozzy Osbourne. From the 1970s all the way through here to 2025, Ozzy Osbourne has been out here on the road, kicking ass and taking the falls for all of us. Thank you, Ozzy. The day Ozzy dies, God, that's going to be a sad motherfucking day. Even though nobody thought he would live this long. Like I said, it is in Birmingham, England, so you're going to have to fly your ass out there. It seems like a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing, but once again, you don't know with Ozzy. He says this is the last show, but if he lives another year, does he want to do another show? Where would you put Ozzy on like a greatest metal singers ever? Because, I mean, of course, there's going to be the people who say, like a Rob Halford, you know, somebody more operatic, that's like, you know, oh, that's the real metal voice, like a Bruce Dickinson, somebody like that, who are truly great. That being said, how do you compare him to Halford? How do you compare him to Dio even, who replaced him in Black Sabbath? It's the style is not the same. However, just like go listen to some of Ozzy's best shit. Go listen to No More Tears. Go listen to Bark at the Moon, Mr. Crowley. Like, man, I went to an Ozzy tribute band show here in Houston, and I think the band was called Oz, simply Oz, and they did a great job. Shout outs to Oz. But they start going through the set, and you're like, God damn, Ozzy just has all fucking bangers.
Respect the cock.
Like, to me, in terms of pure metal singers, he's got to be the top just because he's the OG, man. Who has more power than this guy? Who has more charisma? Who has more, as the kids like to say, who has more aura than Ozzy Osbourne? As soon as you heard his voice, you knew exactly who it was. There was nobody else who it could be. Ozzy was always surrounded by the very best musicians. And on top of that, if you're anyone who loved metal coming up, if you know how to play metal guitar, you know how to play an Ozzy song. You have to. How could you not? Those fucking riffs are so tasty. God bless you, Ozzy. And may you reign on for a long ass time still. And they better show that shit on TV. Anyways, good luck, Oz. You can find us at KRRP Radio /KRRP Radio pretty much on every social media outlet. So yeah, I'd gotten a couple DMs asking me about Tommy Vext. I guess Tommy had to cancel a bunch of dates on his tour. I don't know if it ever picked back up. Did it? Somebody let me know. But he had to take time off for his mental health, which is a good idea. On the internet, people get into this weird bullshit where like they find somebody that they're having beef with and everything, like all the content becomes pointed at that person. I've commented on Tommy Vext a lot because people often ask me to comment on Tommy Vext. But that being said, I'm not here to try to drive him into the fucking grave. I don't know Tommy Vext. I don't give a fuck about him.
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
If you're feeling like shit, if you're feeling, mentally worn down, take a step back, dude. A guy like Tommy Vext, who essentially is an internet troll, he spends his entire fucking life in constant conflict, so I could see how he would be burned out. This guy just fights and fights and fights online. Like, he's even gone so far to comment on this show, and that's bottom of the barrel. So that tells me that he is hyper sensitive, and he would do best to take some time off. You can't live your life like that in constantly watching your phone, and then you're going through all your replies and you're responding to every single one of them and shit like that. It's not a healthy way to live. And then once again, when you're a guy like Tommy Vext, who also gets involved in a lot of, we'll say, conflict in his personal life, his work life is conflict, the tour is conflict, everything is fucking conflict. So I could imagine. He did put out a social media post. Let me see. It's long. I'm not going to read the fucking thing. Let me see. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to read the last paragraph. And this is a quote from Tommy Vext. He says, "So now is the time for me to take a step back to focus on healing my own health and well-being. I have no doubt the following months will lead to some of the best music I have ever made in my career. That will not be hard. So please show me some grace." I'm shitting on him. "So please show me some grace for now and allow me to return bigger and better than ever. As one president once said to me, continuously sucking off Donald Trump." So many people have taken the president and made it into their personality. Like, that's what annoys me. As an American, every 4 years, I have the ability to vote on president. I vote for who I vote for. Sometimes it goes my way. Sometimes it don't. So it went the way it went. It's the will of the people. So fine. I'll see you in a few more years. I literally cannot do shit about it till then. So I will see you motherfuckers in a few years. And we'll see if we're allowed to vote. I don't know. But it's just like, to me, the concept of these people seeing themselves as some sort of new age cowboy outlaws because they're sucking off the president of the United States. Like, you're brainwashed, bro. Just say it out loud.
You don't mess around with God's America.
To be a grown-ass man who's fetishizing this obese, floppy old fuck like he's Rambo Part 2. That's what is ridiculous to me. The presidency is the presidency. I feel how I feel. It is what it is. As I said, I'll see y'all in a few years. We'll see what type of carnival that shit is. But until then, I just think it's not rock and roll to be a bootlicker. When did this flip?
You can kiss my ass!
When I was a kid, it was not cool to snitch to cops. It was not cool to be all about I love the president and go government. What the fuck? And now you look at rock and metal, it's just littered with all these boot-licking assholes. I don't get it.
You understand, you motherfucker?
I don't wish any ill on Tommy Vext. Tommy Vext, I hope you were able to pick your tour back up. I don't know if you did or not. I know if you did, I mean, that only affects like a few hundred people, so whatever. It wouldn't have made too many waves. I'm sure the people of Clear Lake or wherever the fuck your show here in Houston was going to be, I'm sure they're let down. They got to put their Affliction shirts back in the closet, take those bedazzled, distressed jeans and just throw them back in the closet. Fuck it. It's weird to me that that's seen as some sort of rebellion. It's literally the complete opposite of rebellion. And you're an asshole for that. That's all. But I wish you well, dude. I really do. I hope whatever you did, I hope it worked out. I hope you do make some better music. That's what I've wanted all along. That's what I want for you. You're obviously desperate for celebrity, so good luck. And that's my comment on that. So thank you very much to those who asked. And I guess I'm going to have to pretty much start to wrap it up there. I'm sorry, it's just a quick show, but I just wanted to check in. It had been a little while, and honestly, I hadn't really set up anything. So give me a sec. I've been really kind of looking at ways to update the show and maybe fill out the show. I don't fucking know. I've been looking at it. The YouTube channel here is monetized now. So youtube.com/KillRockRadio if you want to go to our YouTube page. So, I mean, the reality is I'm just this fucking dude sitting here talking. So to have over 5,000 subscribers is pretty mind-blowing. Thank you guys very much, by the way. I hate to say it, but like it would help if you liked and subscribed. So if you haven't, do that shit, please. But, I've been trying to figure out some shit to offer the people, some merch and shit like that. If you go to killrockradio.co.co, that's where you'll find our official shop. We got a logo koozie up there. We've got like a cool devil's head sticker that I illustrated myself. So you can get either of those things. Once again, at killrockradio.co. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and get out on that. I'm going to gather my shit up and I'll be back. I'll be checking with you motherfuckers again here in a bit. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you crazy motherfuckers later. Peace.
To keep up with the latest and catch up on past interviews and clips, search Kill Rock Radio on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe to Kill Rock Radio wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm like, oh my God, just listen to it already. Wherever you listen to podcasts.